I want to pull up this story. We got this from the Wall Street Journal. Israeli airstrike hits Jabalia refugee camp and forces extend their advance into Gaza Strip. We have live updates. Apartment buildings were flattened in the strikes. Egypt said it would defend its territory, but take in wounded Palestinians. So I think we have a clip from CNN that I'll play for you. Well, I don't know if basically this is from Ahmad Eldin. He says, Wolf Blitzer, you knew that there were innocent civilians in the refugee camp, right? IDF spokesperson says this is a tragedy of war. Let me just play the clip, because I don't want anything being taken out of context for you guys. So we'll just we'll play this clip for you now.
But even if that Hamas commander was there amidst all those Palestinian refugees who are in that Jabalia refugee camp, Israel still went ahead and dropped a bomb there, attempting to kill this Hamas commander, knowing that a lot of innocent civilians, men, women, and children, presumably would be killed. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's not what you're hearing, Wolf. We're focused on this commander, again, who you'll get more data who this man was. Killed many, many Israelis. We're doing everything we can. It's a very complicated battle space. There could be infrastructure there. There could be tunnels there. We're still looking into it, and we'll give you more data as the hour moves ahead.
I mean, you know that there are a lot of refugees, a lot of innocent civilians, men, women, and children in that refugee camp as well, right?
This is the tragedy of war, Wolf. I mean,
wow.
As you know, we've been saying for days, move south. Civilians that are not involved with Hamas, please move south.
I'm just trying to get a little bit more information. You knew there were civilians there. You knew there were refugees, all sorts of refugees, but you decided to still drop a bomb on that refugee camp, attempting to kill the Hamas commander. By the way, was he killed?
I can't confirm yet.
I mean, Wolf should have just let him answer the question. Then he just jumped to another one. We get the point. Israel says they carried out an airstrike that Hamas claimed killed more than 50 people in Gaza's Jabalia refugee camp, dozens of bodies. Here's my issue with this. That CNN interview, yeah, damning. But Hamas lied about the hospital, and many on the left, pro-Palestinian groups and left, lied about the hospital. So when stories like this come out, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know about the hospital, frankly. I'm not sure that the story has really been debunked.
It has. They claimed the hospital was leveled and 500 people died.
Well, the hospital wasn't leveled. They hit the parking lot.
Yep, and it may have been a couple dozen injured with a certain number of deaths. We don't know.
But there's been other hospitals hit, and they've told them to get out of the other hospitals. They've said, evacuate these hospitals. And then they tell them they're going to bomb the north, so move south, while they're bombing the south. This is unbelievable. So there's nowhere for these people to go. They're shooting fish in a barrel, and they've got them trapped there in a virtual concentration camp. I'm sorry if that sounds like leftist rhetoric, but these people are in a walled area, no exit.
What do we do? Nothing? Should the U.S. just back away?
We should not have. First of all, the UN had a movement to have a ceasefire, and we were one of 7 countries that refused to go along with it.
Hillary Clinton is very anti-ceasefire.
There was a ceasefire when Hamas initiated the terrorist attack 3 weeks ago. There was a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel. Then Hamas broke the ceasefire. That's what started this whole shindig that's going on now.
It's very listen, I'm not going to adjudicate the whole history of the region, but there's no way October 7th is the beginning of this. Yeah.
No. That's why I'm kind of like I got a really good idea, you guys. We should not be involved.
Exactly.
It's like there's a very serious fight happening between 2 of your neighbors, and people keep asking you whose side you're on. I'm like, bro, I don't live there. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. They're like, yeah, well, your kid, your dad is giving weapons to one of your neighbors, and you're like, maybe we shouldn't be doing that.
I don't think that there's actually any good answer for the United States at all, because I don't think that we should give any money. I don't think we should be funding. I don't think we should we should in any way be involved in it. But I also don't think that if we do what is the right thing for the United States, which is not fund it, not give any money, not support, we're still going to be implicated, and we're still going to be attacked. Even if we're not dealing with actual terror attacks, we're still going to be considered the evil Satan that supports Israel and whatever, just because of our history.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that we bombed Iraq under a completely false pretext, killed hundreds of thousands of people, and created millions of refugees.
Any amount of backpedaling now, where if we were to just suddenly start backing away from any funding of war, would make us look like the ultimate hypocrites. in the
I
entire
don't think
world.
so.
Like,
Look, Trump gets
I'm saying
elected.
to them, to the people on the other side, the other ones that are, if you're talking about the people in Gaza or Hamas, they're going to look at, they're going to look at us as hypocrites anyway.
See, I just strongly feel this is an anti-Western movement. The reason, so the Palestinians that are on the ground in Israel or in Gaza or whatever, they hate the Israelis because they have that direct actual situation. They're fighting them. They're pressed by the Israelis, and that's the situation for them. The broader context where you're talking about the region and other countries, sometimes Western countries, the people that are pro-Palestine and against the Israelis, they're more about being against the West more broadly. They're against Western society. They tend to not be supportive of democracies. They want more authoritarian types governments. Well, so it's not, and I'm not saying that I have an answer. If
the West lived up to its proclaimed values, perhaps they wouldn't feel that way. I mean, the West has been.
Colleges have kind of implicated that to them.
Yeah.
And I mean, go further down to TikTok and all these other ways in which kids get this messaging now. Like, I don't know how much of that would even matter now. I do agree. Like, I don't think we should be funding any side of it, but I think that what it's created for me is what I call, it's post-concern. It's like a post-concern attitude where it's like, there's so much information. There's so much propaganda. There's so much coming out from every side in a part of the world that I inherently have nothing to do with other than my government's continued intrusion in other people's business. What am I? What am I as an American citizen whose taxes are going to fund all this? What am I actually supposed to do in this situation? You're telling me I have to care about this side. They're telling me I have to care about this side. I'm not allowed to care about the people here, apparently. That's the only people you're not allowed to care about.
Well, hold on.
It's
which people?
The Americans.
No,
people actually living
which
here
Americans,
now.
though?
Like, okay. How about the people I mentioned last time. How about the people in Hawaii? How about the people in any of the things that have gone on here in the last several years, helping trim down the debt in this country, all of the things that we have to worry about stateside before we go and start getting back re-involved in other countries?
We might revolt against the fact that they're robbing us to do this. I mean, they're robbing the American public, the American taxpayer to fund these wars.
I think Trump was one of the first attempts of people saying, we will rationally decide this man will enact many of these things. And now things are getting pretty tense with the machine's desperate attempts to keep Trump out of office.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy when we have Scott Horton, of all people, being like, Trump tried getting our troops out and they lied to us.
He tells the truth about these matters. But Trump wasn't some, savior. I mean, he killed Soleimani for and could have instigated some conflict with Iran. Imagine if Iran had killed one of our major generals. I mean, this would have drawn us into war. The only reason they didn't get drawn into war is because we have a greater force. But that's not the way the United States should be acting across the planet. We ought to be the beacon on the hill in the sense that we are a free people, that people admire, that trades with other countries, is cooperative and peaceful. This would actually promote peace worldwide.
It is true, Phil, that what you said about it being an anti-American movement. Did you see the infographic meme the other day? It says Free Palestine is a queer movement. Free Palestine is okay. That's at the heart of it. It's an anti-Western, anti-democracy movement more than anything else. It's not that they support or love Palestine or Gaza. It's that they love the fact that it puts the West between a rock and a hard place in dealing with the conflict.
And you're right, because there is no good policy that's going to make the United States look good. I personally, like I've said over and over, we shouldn't be involved. We shouldn't have troops over there. We shouldn't be spending money on it. We shouldn't be funding it. Israel can fight its own war. I 100% believe that, but that doesn't mean that if that were the course of action that the United States took, that the rest of the world would be like, oh, cool, the United States is doing the right thing or the good thing. There are still going to be people that are going to say, oh, the West is bad, America's bad, democracy bad, liberalism bad. Yeah.
No, I mean, when you try to export democracy with bombs like we did in Iraq, of course, people are going to be skeptical about what is this democracy you're talking about.
Yeah, I agree, and I just don't think that it's limited to the Middle East. I think that there is an anti-Western, anti-liberal movement that is pretty global.
I think there's an anti-liberal movement in the United States. I don't think there are any liberals left.
I agree.
We're looking at an illiberal left, effectively. But there's no liberalism here.
There are. It's just they're the post-liberals. They're the disaffected liberals.
The funny part is like in what I do, like talking about movies, celebrities, Hollywood, and pop culture. You see this right now because a bunch of celebrities try to make a post that makes everybody happy, and they can't make anyone happy. And this is the first time they haven't been given a clear marching order about who the good guys and who the bad guys are when they write their virtue signaling letters. Everyone gets mad at them from every side. And I think that the people that are inherently anti-American and anti-Western love that about this.
Yeah, I think you see the people that are only tertiary, or that only understand the wave tops of the movement. Those are the people that are shocked when they are kind of learning what decolonization means and that it's a violent revolution that's being endorsed, and they're shocked. They're like, wait a minute, I don't want to see people getting their heads cut off. I don't want to see people's businesses and lives being destroyed. And well, that's what decolonization is.
If we could jump back to the China thing, okay? What are we doing with reference to China that's weakening us? Well, we're doing all kinds of things. We're instituting a deindustrialization campaign in the West. With the ESG and the stakeholder capitalism, which is about eroding our industrial base, supposedly to mitigate so-called climate change and greenhouse gas emissions. And this is favoring China. That's something that we're doing to ourselves. It's a self-inflicted wound. It's suicidal in effect. We're taking our industries and we're saying you can't burn fossil fuels, and we must use this ESG to force all these companies into this regime, while China then gains all this power and wealth on the back end because they're not doing it.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.